Welcome to the podcast, and the track hearing is Afterlife by Napoleon. Not the leader person thingy. The band. Yeah, this is an interesting track. I think I first discovered Napoleon all the metal music like Periphery and Animals as Leaders. I think there are some others. And Napoleon are just incredible for that reason. I think it's this one is special band, although I'm not sure if that's the right thing to say. Sadly, they only made 2 albums and they only existed, or were active rather than existed. They did exist, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about them. But they were active from 2011 to put this into Rocksmith CDLC to learn it. I did this a while ago. That's probably like 10 years ago, no. I'd say like 7 years ago. And yeah, I just love this track. It's heavy to an extent, and it's also just very fast and quite active. There's a lot going on at once. On top of some interesting lead and rhythm arrangements, as well as timings as well. It's pretty much math metal, I guess, in a way. It's hard to describe it. And it's obviously got the metalcore sort of twist that it has. Decent vocals, decent arrangements too. It's definitely worth checking out if you are into metalcore, even if you're just looking for something to transition into progressive music. Yeah, it's certainly a lot faster and a lot more complex than something like Dream Theater, which I think is a progressive metal band. Could be mistaken on that, or maybe I've just misunderstood progressive. So I don't know. But it's such a good band anyway. Strong recommendation, and yeah, I just really like this band. So for this tip, I have something kind of interesting but not. It's really stupid but really simple. And it really just works anyway. Keep note of what you like. And this could be anything, because I only applied this to food initially, and then I started applying it to other things. I started applying it to various media I consume, various genres of music, and to an extent it's like to everything else, like my likes and dislikes of sort of things. Like it really varies depending on what it is. And I just really like a lot of things anyway. So it made sense to keep track of these things. I do end up really liking. It sounds stupid, but it does make it worth it in the end. And when it came to food, as I was, well, I still am really, eating vegan, I make note of the foods I enjoy. And I have a list of things, I have it categorised. I probably need to organise it a bit better. So I'll see if we can do an Excel sheet. That'd be perfect, I think. That'd be like the best way to do it. Or maybe if you know how to use like Microsoft Access, assuming that's still used, you could probably do it on that. But yeah, I'll be honest, it's so worth making these lists because you find out things you can come back to, things that you really enjoy, and even get meal ideas if you ever find something you do like. Say you try like a, I don't know, Caribbean curry, if that's a thing. Not sure if it is. But you really like that thing you tried once. If it's like a restaurant or a shop thing, you could try cooking it yourself, because one day that might disappear from shelves, and you'll be glad you tried it, because yeah, obviously that thing can disappear from shelves. So there's always that risk with products nowadays, especially in a capitalist society. So you can always keep note of that. I think, is there anything else I could adjust? Not really. Yeah, so that's a tip. So, Eclipse Sounds have recently announced, or even posted a video as well, about a new voice bank for Synthesizer V, which, as everyone may know, I use. But it's very interesting because this one is really different. It wasn't what I was expecting. I'm not sure if it already exists, to be honest, but I think it's really cool. The thing that I really like about this is the voice that is using an older male voice, not masculine voice. And I think it's really interesting because I've been complaining about the quality of music and even the quality of things like this, where obviously the voices that you use it's better not to use AI, but if you can get it right, then using something like this, which isn't AI to be fair, it's computer generated, but it can work. And I really like the fact that they're exploring this aspect of it now, because they came out with Havoc, which I used for a brief time and didn't really get along well with, to be honest. I think there's more punch in someone like, what was her name, Solaria? I think it's Solaria? I can't remember. I have a female voice bank that I upgraded. I'm using that currently. But I think having the older male voice is pretty versatile, I guess, in most ways. And not so much in others, I guess, as well. That's the only problem. It's going to be really handy. Honestly, I think that's a great idea to have that. And I'm certainly interested in seeing what people make with it, because this can end up being really interesting. The voice is familiar. The voice is called Remmant, by the way, I forgot to mention that. But Remmant seems to be one of the most promising voice banks yet. Yeah, a bit more promising than anyone else, essentially, so far. But yeah, like the song they made for this voice bank, basically Reset and something, I can't remember the alphabet for some reason. Reset and Try Again, that's it. But this is what I mean. It'll get people interested in experimenting and going into this older sounding music. And that's essentially what the voice is for. And I know it's mimicking someone, I've heard the voice before. I just can't figure out what it is. But as long as it's not AI, it's something that I might consider picking up, just to have there as an option. It's one of the things with my sort of metal originals that I'm going to experiment with is the types of music, and this would go perfectly, I think, with metal jazz sort of things, which I've been trying to experiment with, and I did crack the code when I made my cover of Hydrosity Zone. I did a sort of breakdown with that. So I could probably make an original using this voice. So that could be a good way to start it. Annoyingly, I have to balance my money, and that's a big problem at the moment. I need to either get a keyboard or get a voice bank, and I think for the moment might have to be keyboard, but I'm not 100% sure either. It depends on if I can get that for a reasonable price, and same with the voice, the Remmant voice. I hope they don't price it stupidly, because even though I get there's some effort that goes into it to making it work and stuff, it shouldn't be that expensive given the quality. You know, for people like me who don't have a voice to sing with, that's why these voice banks are so handy. It's why they're so useful. There's certainly a way to get music out there without obviously relying on other people, relying on other voices, where it's a bit awkward and sometimes it's just not even worth it. People have suggested getting someone on smell. Oh, there's someone on Fiverr site to record a vocal cover for the tracks that I'm making. But as we know, that comes with issues because one, it's probably not going to be the direction you want, and two, it's definitely subjective in terms of either quality or the type of voice it is. If I'm asking someone who's like a jazz vocalist to, for some reason anyway, make a metal vocal, I don't think that might turn out that well. It's kind of hard to see that happening. So that's kind of why you want a voice to rely on of your own, essentially. So yeah. I certainly think there is something. Anyway, let's move on for this topic. Yeah, I'm interested to know what people think of this. Confession time, but I always have these worries about playing a live service game and essentially just not being able to come back to it one day. And that's mainly out of the fear that something will just go horribly wrong, or say the company goes downhill enough so that you can't come back from it. And I had this thought around the time of Genshin Impact because I was obviously heavily invested in it, and given that the game doesn't have a offline mode or even just a backup or just a way to access the content, even the events that happened, I'm just a bit confused about that. It's like weird is fucking going on there. So I don't know, but that's been a big worry of mine because obviously you invest a lot of time in these, and that can mean it's going to waste. And that's why it's often better to have single player games because they tend to be a bit more friendly towards you in that way, I suppose. But yeah, single player just tends to be better for that reason because you can always come back to it, you can mod it, you can do whatever. But I do get this fear still every now and then when I play Final Fantasy XIV or just any other game really, Team Fortress 2 even. There's a reason why I downgraded my inventory. It's because one day it could just disappear. Yeah, that's it. It takes one wrong move, it takes one war, it could take anything. And it'll just be gone. So it won't last. And that's essentially why it's not really a good thing to invest too much time into it, or even money for that matter, where it does come up. I already talked about the live service temptation, where at the moment games seem to tempt people into playing it. Like Wayland's Meat, for example, is a recent example, where people were playing it as a sponsored game, suddenly going towards it as if they liked the game, saying that, oh, the combat's good because you die a lot of times. So, okay, right, that's not really a good thing though. It's a bit boring in my opinion, because if you're not progressing, then what's the fucking point? It also looks like you play roulette with a bunch of players as well, so it's not optimal enough. My god, people will just hodl, is that around word even? But people will hodl around the game, essentially, and fucking suck up to it and just buy everything that it has. It's absolutely absurd. But they'll do this. They'll invest tons of money, and it just won't lead to anything. And one day the game will just be shut down or something, and if I never any players, and suddenly all your stuff is gone because they didn't have an offline mode, they didn't have even a single player version of it. So it just doesn't make sense. It's absolutely crazy to me that is a problem. Yeah, this is why I don't like live service games in general, even though I'm playing one. It still has issues. Ugh, I get fucking fed up with this. I'm done. Just getting stupid. This fucking A-train shit. Too many players and too many shit coding. Yeah, it's just weird. Uh, just trying to think what else I can add. Yeah, like the other thing is I have things to do. So I don't really want to be playing this for that long. That's the problem. It requires my time to even do something. Like even what I was just doing here, if you're watching it, I was just following mathematics to get the relic weapons, and at a certain point it just feels too much. I literally just want to move on to focusing on like music or artwork and getting that done. I want to get my list down because I have so many fucking things to make. Like, Jesus Christ, is like say like 40 or 50 odd tracks, metal covers to make. I'm not even going to do that in a year. That's impossible. I could do about maybe a quarter of it at most. That's sort of why I want to spend my time. But guess what? I can't do that because of this fucking game. Honestly, I think there should be a law that sort of prohibits long gaming sessions like that because I don't think it's even beneficial to players, let alone people's financial situation when it's designed that way. Not to make it sound like China or anything, because China's also shit when it comes to gaming, and they're not educated on it. That's a big problem. It does need caps in terms of like gameplay time, and we're talking about not restricting people, but rather developers in terms of how they design a game. If it's addictive, with a season pass, with microtransactions, with plenty of other things, there simply is no room for that in this world, in this sort of setting. It's just a slippery slope, and it'll always sort of fail in that sense because it's just not fit for purpose. It just doesn't work, to be honest. But I just wish games would be more respectful of your time. I don't think that's really a hard thing to ask, given how easy it is to just change all things here. I think once you unlock like what the 5th or 6th relic weapon in this game, for example, Final Fantasy XIV, you should be able to get all of them. Why? Because I've already fucking played it. I've already done this grind. I don't want to do it again. So it's a no-brainer to add that as a thing. That reduces playtime for the better, and now I can focus on doing what the game has to offer. And if you're a new player, good fucking luck. You won't stay sane long enough. I happen to be a new player and I'm losing my sanity over it. I've already talked about the crappy Realm Reborn relic grind, which itself needs a rework because it's so fucking grindy. Like, Jesus Christ. This is why games just suffer. There needs to be less incentive on live services these days because at this point it's a risk. It's not just a risk to the players, but also just to people being sponsored. And I always take issue with people who get sponsored by bigger companies, even though they may pay more. It's still doing bad things for the gaming communities. It's essentially like selling drugs. That's the biggest equivalent. Having a sponsorship from a gaming company like Nvidia or not necessarily a gaming company video card, but still similar, same sort of vein thing going on there. But it's the same as essentially advertising drugs. You're selling this to get people hooked on it, and that's what a live service is. It's not necessarily the same as an addiction. I would never make that comparison because it simply isn't the same. And where that becomes a massive problem for a lot of people is they'll get hooked into it, much like Where Winds Meet as an example, and they won't find an easy way out. Because the game's requiring their time, their money, their resources, everything. And whilst I am going to discuss what I've been watching in terms of Genshin Impact, because I've got into the story again, I've not played it, and watching someone play it is a bit different when you're watching someone else play it, rather than doing it yourself, because if you're watching someone else play it, you can do whatever you fucking want that time. I watch YouTube videos whilst I'm making music. I'm actually watching Genshin Impact whilst I'm either taking a dump or doing the dishes. Taking a dump because I have health issues there. So that's why that happens. But then you think, there's so many things to consume nowadays that you don't really have time for it. Even then I want to play certain games and it just doesn't seem like possible, and at the same time I'm happy with playing a game like Final Fantasy XIV or Genshin Impact if they do fix their shit. If they can at least respect my time and money and allow me to have time for myself. Deep Rock Galactic is like the textbook example of how to do a live service, even with its grindy nature of certain aspects of it. Like the season pass, whilst it's not premium, that's definitely a good point actually, is because it's not paid for, it's still quite long. And I think you can cheat it, technically speaking, but it does require your time. But you can come back to it whenever you want, and you don't have to play it all the time. Whereas a game like Final Fantasy XIV, you are punished for essentially not doing dailies. You're punished for not doing certain grinds. But there's different ways that the game will punish you. For doing weeklies, you get punished as well. I mean, for not doing them. So you can see the issue. This is why it's such a big problem. That's why I bring it up, because it causes problems. And one of the things that I sort of found interesting recently is that I've only heard a rumour, I haven't actually looked into this. I've heard that Square Enix employees are walking out. They're just fed up with the company, and I don't blame them. Honestly, when you design a game with as many problems that can come up as Final Fantasy XIV has, it's just not surprising. I'm pretty sure that's why World of Warcraft's team pretty much decided to fucking part ways, because one, they had too many problems in that game, and two, they weren't even listening to players, they were just belittling and demeaning them constantly. Ian Hazakosis famously just had no fucking clue what the players wanted. Never acknowledged it, never even apologised. So he was just dishonest from the start. And as a result, he was essentially seen as one of the worst fucking developers in the industry, at least at the time. I think we've seen worse since, but this is back in Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands. Still very notably bad. Like, at that point, if I was in his situation, I'd just quit. I'd say, like, okay, we need someone better on this because I'm not fit for purpose. Fair enough. That's certainly respectable, but that didn't happen, to my knowledge. And suddenly they've drawn players back in with the player housing, which I imagine has gone disastrously because there's no fucking way you can do that. It just seems not very possible to me, because there are a lot of complications with that. So I don't know how that's going. I'm not really interested. But yeah, but it will ask for your time. It won't even give you catch up, it won't even give you time to explore everything. I've still not even explored everything in Final Fantasy XIV. It takes thousands of hours to explore everything, and that's no exaggeration. I'm only at my, let's see the play time, 127 days, so that's, I don't know actually how long it is. It's at least 2,500 hours, I'd say. But that's still a ton of time. Yeah, that's like, I think that's my second most played game then. Because I used to be Overwatch at a certain point. I used to have 2,300 hours in it, I think. I had 2,300 hours over. But my most played game is Team Fortress 2 with 5,600 hours. And the only reason I played that tons is because I had so many things I could enjoy in that, so many things I could do. And it wasn't wasting my time, it's just like, oh, I could just play this to have fun. I didn't need to do anything on it. Just drop in, drop out, and that's one of the magical things of a game that's not designed to be as predatory or live servicey as others, although it has its own issues. I will admit that. It's certainly better than a lot of the competition out there. It's better than Fortnite. It's better than Overwatch 2 at the moment. You don't have to worry about battle pass. All you have to worry about is loot boxes and potentially just spending money on this garbage economy. That's it. There isn't much else to do it, and even then your money's less at risk with it because they're not constantly trying to update it. And let's not forget that the contribution to live service games in itself can just sort of enable failed games as well, where games have tried to be a live service themselves and just fucked up. They haven't done anything. Sort of reminds me of the Concord situation where it barely had any players and they shut it down within 2 weeks. And nobody was playing it. And it was just in a bad state, if I'm not mistaken. But that's why you don't design things to be a live service anymore. Single player games are back and they're better than ever, as far as I know. I've seen so many good single player games over the past few years, and for some reason companies, developers, whoever it is at this point, are still making live services. Like, what the fuck is your problem? When are you going to actually fucking acknowledge gamers, the people who actually play these? But even then, player satisfaction is important. It's not about money at the end of the day. It's about the legacy you leave with these games. When I think back to TF2 in its glory days, it was fun because of various community aspects, but also the player base was just batshit insane. And the fact that it was a game that had voice lines and cosmetics allowed for so much creativity. And that was one of a kind. But we don't have a game like that anymore. There's nothing like it. Now you just get skins, now you just get very lazy hero shooters, hence the E3 thing. E3 was it? No, it's Game Awards, wasn't it? Was it? No, it was Game Awards, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, most critical made a reaction to that. But literally that's what happens. It encourages more shit. And that's also partly one of my guilts with just playing Final Fantasy XIV here. It is sort of a way that I'm contributing to the nature of just live service games in general. As far as I know, this is probably funding the worst things. So again, I'm not surprised when developers walk out, because their vision of the game, their management of the game, is just going to fall apart. And I have no doubt some of my feedback has something to do with that, because I'm literally so confused by some parts of this game. You know, if I see player limit destination reach, which is where you saw the A train, and well, just fucking dropped out of it because I just got fed up of it. It's actually causing me to miss A rank several times, and another player as well. So I was just like, fuck this. You know, this is stupid. You need to fix this shit. Because obviously this is inefficient. Again, what I said before, grind it out once, grind it out 3 times, 5 times, whatever, and be able to get them all. Again, problem solved. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure this out. I just do not understand the choices that these developers made. Like, why not just one per fucking role? It's so obvious. Like tank, if you do it on Paladin, unlock it for the others. If you do it on healer, unlock it for the other healers. If you do it on physical ranged, unlock it for the physical ranged. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's just such a head scratcher, because I don't understand why they do this. It's the same with any relic weapon grind, to be honest. Like Heaven's Ward, why the fuck do I have to do it all over again? Why do I have to carry all this shit? Again, I think whenever there's a question of why or how, that's when you've got problems. Whenever you find that, that means the game has an issue. If I'm not prompted as to why player limit destination reached, like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Like, isn't this an MMO? It's supposed to be massive multiplayer, not small multiplayer? Like, what? It's just so fucking absurd. Anyway, I better move on before I ever stalk and die. That'd be a blessing. Yeah, that's something to think about recently. That's another topic. So as I said earlier, I'm trying to keep... Wait, can you hear my fan? No, I think I can, but it's not fucking that. Damn it. Yeah, it's just for some reason I thought it's picking up on mic. Anyway, speaking about something that's not a fan, me. Genshin Impact 5.6. I just watched the Archon quest and the... Oh god, what is it? Story quest for Phobia. And I've got some thoughts on that, to be honest, but I do have some issues and also some good points with this, because as I said, I'm only watching it, I'm not playing it, I'm not trying to get back into that live service temptation again. It's just not worth it at this point. It's too fucking dangerous, too deadly, too shit, and too bad, because HYPERSKY could make it a good game, but no. They shitify it with the gacha, so there we go. But I've got some thoughts on it. So the Archon quest in 5.6, which I watched through Doro. He had a video on his channel. Yeah, I'm not sure about this Archon quest. It's a bit shit and a bit janky because of the nature of like Genshin and stuff, like it being pretty much primarily animated in game, which, given its quality, like, I'm not the biggest critic of graphics, but I even see bad graphics in Genshin, and I just think, like, how can you say this is good? Like, the environment's undeniably amazing, but the characters, the animations are all fucking jank. They don't have any good points, really, which is a shame because I think that they could be. But at this moment, I don't think there is. It sucks. Yeah, I wish it could be better, to be honest. So yeah, the Archon quest is okay, as I said. The animation itself doesn't do much to help it, to be fair. I think that's still one of its biggest problems. And lack of voice acting, that's the other thing. I liked Doro's voice acting, for it's brilliant. Jean turning into, I don't know, Tony Soprano or something. I can't remember who he's impersonating, but fucking brilliant. But yeah, the lack of voice acting does hinder it a lot. And as much as I don't like the idea of AI voice acting, I think at this point, with how shit things are, like HYPERSKY just need to fucking sign something to ensure that they have protections, because this shouldn't be allowed to happen. I think voice acting is such a crucial part of the game. Literally, it's so important, and I think without it, it does make it less spectacle, I guess. If that's the right term, I could be wrong on that. It's certainly less impressive, that's for certain. I do find it weird. So that aside, the story I didn't find that interesting, funnily enough. And I think the reason for that is primarily due to the fact it doesn't seem to matter, really. It's such a pointless story. Like, until the end, we don't really get anything from this. So I just failed to see the point. Like, why even bother at this point? I do not understand that. The story just felt so pointless and bland. And even with the combat sequences where you get to control the other characters, I don't think that's even that exciting. And whilst the murder mystery aspect of it is interesting, for someone who's already fucking played the event, which spoiled this by the way, because the event, if you don't know, with Albedo, who's being on trial here, literally involves him having a clone. I might as well just say it outright, because it's not a spoiler, because it's actually fucking told in the event, and the events keep being removed by the way, so yeah, that's another reason I don't play it anymore. What's the fucking point if events are there and they just get removed? Thanks. Yeah, so that's always kind of shitty. What happens after they investigate and then they go to another trial for Albedo, and then it's revealed that someone else is actually doing something behind the scenes. To nobody's surprise. It's Albedo's clone. Great. So they're trying to capture the clone, there's a bunch of monsters at Monster, it's garbage, and they don't do a very good job. They manage to stop them anyway. And then they arrest the clone, and then we encounter Alice at some point for some reason. Because Clea was there briefly to help out, and Alice is for some reason there. And the traveller goes with Albedo to talk with Alice, to walk with Alice, no, not really, but talk with Alice anyway, or one of her creations, for lack of the correct term, question mark. And it's basically like a little dodoka. But they're in this room, I think it's the Imaginary Theatre room, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what it's called? I can't remember, it's been so long. It's almost been 8 months now since I stopped playing. But yeah, I think it's in that room, and they're talking, and then suddenly Alice decides to drink them. So Albedo and Traveller get transported into the into this like smaller world, not transported, drunk, but then transported for some reason. This is like chess world, and there's some pretty cool like enemy battles and then a boss fight, which is amazing. I did really like that. Yeah, as much as it's nice to see more of Alice, at least what we know of her anyway, it just wasn't very substantial in that sense. I don't even recall what the lore bit was. I can't even remember. It just wasn't that interesting. It's obvious that the quality wasn't there, but some people said it's good, but I'm not entirely sure. It could just be in my attention span. It's always a factor here. But the next thing, which is FFXIV's quest, story quest, I was mixed onto. I watched it by a YouTuber / streamer called Bran, and yeah, I gotta admit at the beginning had me a bit sort of laughing, because as a British guy who is pretty much aware of our own culture, I immediately saw the resemblance there. I saw Gordon Ramsay and that woman, and I called her Gordina Ramsay. But I did find it funny when we met Escoffier, and she had a British voice breaks essentially. Because she's actually British, which is quite funny, but I wish I'd just allow her to use a British voice. I don't get why they just don't have accents. It seems like whitewashing to me, for lack of a better term. I think whitewashing is a term. It's like you're trying to clean out all the inferior quote unquote races. It's all a bunch of racist garbage. It's a bit like how Pokemon called Rice Balls jelly-filled donuts. It's just fucking stupid. But it's sort of similar vein, I guess, to that. Even though Pokemon, for some reason, back in the day, I've been watching the streams, they've allowed any fucking accent imitation. It's like they had Team Rocket doing Russian accents, I think French accents as well. It's like fucking insane. You won't get away with that now, I don't think, but it's kind of funny. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I just wish they'd allow her to use a natural voice. Because it's a good natural voice. Like, any voices really, except mine. Mine is the worst. I want to send it into the pits of hell, and I want it to burn, like a burning ring of fire. Anyway, got a bit too ADHD'd there. So it's not very twist and turny. Admittedly, this quest I think is a bit lacking. Strange to me. Yeah, sure to follow it all the way through, and like the characters. Gotta admit, I felt bad for Monaco at the start, but yeah, just kind of it did sort of annoy me in areas because it just felt like normal stuff. Straight, okay. But it's just like the usual shit. I swear we've been through this quest before. Like, what is going on? It feels the same as others. Like, yeah, cooking contest, a bit different, but similar to other ones. And I swear we've had something similar with like Xiangling, not just in like story quests, but events as well. So I have no idea what's going on with that. It's a bit strange to me. Yeah, so I'm not sure. But I think, let's see, trying to recall the things that happened. There's like a bunch of controversy with like the hotel and the cooking and stuff. People just seem to be unsure about things, and Scoffy is worried obviously about her former head chef, was it? I can't remember. About the hotel, she used to work at the hotel and stuff. I don't know what happened, and Monaco's obviously working with the hotel. That's when she gets involved, obviously Scoffia and Traveller and stuff. And Navia as well, I forgot about that. And they try cooking stuff, 12 tablespoons of sugar. Yeah, that's a brilliant joke. A brilliant cooking joke. That's enough to fucking kill you. I'm pretty sure that's like the daily intake. I could be wrong. That's not enough to kill you exactly, but it should. That's the other thing. Yeah, there's like this recipe book thing they're talking about, and there's this idea that I think Vivian, I can't remember the name, I call it Vivian, the Gordina Ramsay, is essentially jealous about this book and wants to know how to make the recipes like Escoffia does, because she sort of admires Escoffia. And they eventually get into a controversy, and then there's some shit going on at Vivian's house, I think, was in Monaco, I can't remember which one it is. Then they go to a ruin and they try to find the book and some history and lore on this recipe, and they discover that the guy who was making it went insane. It's just crazy. And there's also a drug, I forgot to mention that, there's a drug being used in this recipe. Yeah, but it turns out Monaco is the one who's doing all this, who's basically causing all the problems, which is not a great twist given the amount of trauma victims who get villainised is absolutely fucking insane in the amounts of media I've seen, especially in my years of being alive, 28 years by the way. It's insane how many times that happens, and honestly it just needs to stop, because you can come out of trauma not being a fucking villain. It's not necessarily a hard thing to do, it's kind of easy if you are traumatised that big enough anyway. That badly enough, not big enough. I don't get why they do that all the time. So it just kind of was a shitty twist there. I didn't like that. Just a bit crap, but there were so many fucking twists and turns in that as well, like back and forth and shit. It's just giving me whiplash. It's just, yeah, it's just straight up whiplash. I don't think it had much of a reason to be like that. But I did like that Vivian had character progression, there was a cooking contest at the end. But overall, I didn't really like it, to to be honest. It was just mixed for me. There wasn't much to like about it, but there was certainly things to dislike, which is always going to be a problem, I think, but depends on how close you are to it. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to add there. I'm not sure what, because the events are in the game as well, but they get removed. I can't comment on anything else with that patch, so it's kind of like, certainly one of the aspects I missed about Genshin Impact was the story aspects, getting to meet characters, and just seeing the world as well. But also, Archon quests, I don't know how they managed to fuck that up, because it used to just be about discovering secrets about the Abyss and discovering details about your siblings' whereabouts, and they've just forgotten about that for some reason. I don't understand why they've essentially dropped that and forgotten about it there. Although it seems like 5.7 is visiting it properly this time. I don't understand what the point was, unless that wasn't an Archon quest that I watched. It'd be surprising if it wasn't, because that's a fucking long quest. It involves a lot of characters, and even a new one, which I didn't even notice before. Even they already teased a fucking new one anyway. At the end of that, I forgot about that. There's Duran. Yeah, becomes a human, which is insane. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this really. It's quite obvious that it's gone downhill, and Honkai Star Rail can suck it at this point. Yeah, there's not much happening in that, not worth it really, because they've already fucked up the game enough. It's crazy. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Genshin Impact 5.6. And that Archon quest and shit. Yeah, not really anything happening. But as usual, I just wish games would be better, and the story could be better and make the games better as well. Yeah, so let's move on. So, this episode of South Park took me down memory lane for some reason, in a weird way. Officer Barbrady, only 7 minutes into the episode, season 2, episode 3? Yeah, it has to be 3. Yeah, it's 3. But it's spoiled anyway, but they discovered Officer Barbrady can't read, and is essentially a good police officer. But this reminded me of this toilet discussion about him needing to go poopies during class, and Mr. Garrison saying he needs to do it before and after class. I have an interesting story regarding that. I wasn't a frequent pisser or shitter when I was young. I don't know how, because I don't feel like it even really happened a lot of the time. But I swear that I only went like once a week or something for shitting, and then a few times every day for pissing. But it feels so fucking weird to think about, because I don't even know how I managed it. But it gets even weirder, because that was just at home. In school, however, I never used to drink things, so I was always like thirsty in school. And the only reason I didn't drink is so I didn't go to the toilet. And the only reason I didn't go to the toilet is because I fucking hate them. They were terrible back there. I even remember in my school, like, sometimes kids were just gathering there, and I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be anywhere near them, because they were fucking problematic. And not only that, being a bit self-conscious, like, yeah, I didn't really want to be there, to be exposed to them or anything. There's no point. I remember only like a handful of times I actually did. But it sort of started happening in primary school, because I have some sort of trauma about that, because I remember my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which I used to collect, were stolen at some point. I found them scattered in the backyard. Someone decided to nick them from my coat. Somehow no one saw it. And basically distribute them and trade them. And there were gold cards as well, believe it or not. And these were, I think, original ones. But of course, there's no proof that I had them, so nobody took my side. And I was actually like a target for bullying in school by teachers as well. So not just students. God, maybe that's why I'm so fucking ill today. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so I found someone in the bathroom, the toilets rather, like looking at these cards, and I looked at them and I saw my cards. Like, the fuck? And I literally took them from his hand because it's like, it's mine. It literally was mine. And he said he got them from someone else, and then I got told on because that's stealing apparently. Taking back my own cards, but again, nobody could prove it. So that sucked. As I come secondary school, when I was just fitting in stuff and I went to the toilets, not during class, but sometimes, well actually, I can't actually remember properly when I did, but I never used to go to the bathroom even when I needed to go. And really enough, I used to have gastrointestinal issues back then, Jesus. How much fucking stuff have I missed? That's crazy. But I used to not go. So I never really used it, even when I needed to. When I was on the verge of pissing or just needing to crap myself or something. Never went. And I guess I developed that avoidance quite early on. And it might have contributed to even my gastrointestinal issues, I don't know at this point, but it's still concerning in a sense. But it's so strange to me. Like, my logic for it, I guess, is sound. So anyone listening, it probably is. But I don't know how damaging it is, or was rather. And I did that for 5 years. Until college. And college is another interesting one because I started to develop more anxiety and self-consciousness. I didn't eat in college because there's no time slot. I might as well have eaten at home. That's what I tended to do. I've never used the bathroom in the college. In fact, I don't even fucking remember them. That's how much I just avoided it. So I never went to the toilet in college. But to be honest, the lessons were like 1 or 2 hours per day. Or sometimes 3 hours, it wasn't so bad. So yeah. It's just a strange scenario. So it's going on outside, what the fuck is going on in this place again? Again, this contributes to my issues. Yeah. I don't know. It's just something to think about, I guess. Like, the world is just very bizarre sometimes, and because of these situations, these circumstances, I don't really have much choice when it comes to, I guess, trying to find the most comfortable thing for me. Weirdly enough, not going to the toilet probably was the most comfortable thing for me, even though I was holding it in, going through a lot of pain from it. I was surprised that I didn't actually die, because I'm pretty sure that kills people, holding it in. I'm just genuinely surprised. When I had a sort of gaming addiction all the way when I was much younger, I remember just crapping myself. I just hated the toilet that much. It wasn't a noise thing or anything, or even discomfort, I just had an avoidance to it. Just bizarre to me. Trying to think what else it was. Just a bunch of strange circumstances, I guess. I think I've pretty much covered everything. It's just like a very strange story. I'm curious if there's any insights, if anyone knows if that possibly contributed to some of my issues. It would be interesting to know that. Certainly scary in other ways. I suppose there's a fear of being bullied as well, because that's where it can happen. I remember in primary school, actually, I think there were scenarios where I was essentially bullied in the bathroom. I remember even like going in there to fucking cry sometimes because of just being forced to go to school. So I didn't like going. I was already burnt out from autism. And this is supposedly before a time where knowledge on autistic burnout was even there. So I was just forced to traumatised as a result. It's probably what led me down to being diagnosed with PDD. It just doesn't surprise me if that's the case. Yeah, it's just more shitty situations on more shitty situations. Well, I'm really not sure what to say, because that's what's happened. I don't think there's really any easy solution there. Yeah, it's not a fun topic at all, but you know, that's the scenario, and I think people need to be aware that I'm sharing this because other people need to know these warning signs and risks that come with something like that. Because it is school isn't easy at all. I don't think for anyone, but it's worse for certain people. And drastically worse. I never got told to do headphones or ear defenders or anything. I never had that option. So it just always backfired for me. You know, what's weird is we even had a special needs department where supposedly they could help with that. And they didn't even acknowledge some of this. Well, it's in secondary school. We didn't have it in primary school. It's more like, oh yeah, like you're just special. That's it. We're not actually going to help you or anything. But she is. I guess that's why I'm so fucked up as well. I pretty much had no support. Teaching assistants weren't very useful or helpful at that stage either. Yeah, so that's that. Let's move on. I can't remember if I ever spoke about this, but there was an irony with M, which I'm not going to reiterate who that is, but you have to see my previous discussions about that, about abusive housemate, but yeah. But one of the things that he sort of always told me was, which is fucking ironic, is he hated alpha male types. And to me this just meant that he hated people who are similar to him, basically. Which demonstrates a lot of fucking issues. It doesn't surprise me, to be honest. Like, that was just kind of obvious from there. I knew that this essentially meant that he was trying to cover for himself, in that sense. And it just came across as shitty. Because, like, why the fuck would you just do that? Like, why? Like, it was a scumbag to me and to other people. But how can you even say that when you yourself are a fucking alpha male as well? Like, it's just insane. And when we talk about alpha males, obviously who comes up? None other than AT. You know who I'm talking about by those initials. And when we talk about AT or cuntface or whatever, basically weak male energy, I'll call them actually. But weak male energy literally is one of the most abusive people on this planet. You know, although with Trump, although with Epstein, you know, there's plenty of others as well. But it's so frustrating when M seemed like a nice person and was talking to me about these sort of things, not Andrew Tate for some reason, which is also a bit ironic because of obviously what happened with him. I mean, M. But just this other stuff. Like, it's so ironic that he essentially ignored his own advice and became an alpha male himself, pushing for this whole, oh, I'm a dominant male person, and he essentially did that in the household by essentially abusing me and my housemate, not physically, luckily. Well, other housemate did get physically abused at one point, but it could have very well gotten there. And I was also prepared to defend myself, to literally put my arms up, literally, and fucking use my fists, use my legs as well, because that's probably my stronger point. Thing is, I'm so intimidating by size and posture as well that people just don't really want to touch me. It's kind of the crazy fucking thing. But yeah, that's probably why he didn't want to pick a fight on me. And why that session never happened, which is also a bit unfortunate because, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I could have won, even though he apparently knew martial arts, but I somehow doubt that would work on me. Because I'm quite responsive to things. Like, fucking hell, I can catch things that are dropping without even dying, so yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Anyway, he always spoke about this alpha male stuff, and obviously, why is it alpha male? Like, let's look up what is an alpha male. Hello? Come on. Okay, there we go. The dominant male in animal in a particular group. Yeah. Like, there's no such fucking thing. And anyone with a rational mindset, with empathy, would understand that there doesn't exist one in a human society. In fact, probably the only reason we have politicians is because of this very idea that there is alpha males. And that's why people are so opposed to female politicians. It's because of this exact fucking reason. Because there's this very, oftentimes traditionalised, like people don't realise this, but it's quite traditional to be in a heterosexual relationship and bear children. And people think that you need to be a dominant male to do that, and it's like a dominant male within a dominant male within a dominant male. It goes on and on. The list is pretty much endless, and someone who fits that description, being in politics, like for example, Trump, could be viewed as a alpha male, or that cunt on the bike who just went past. So literally. And all they need to do is fucking just be there on stage, be there in a high profile, make themselves known, hence the biker, and that's it. Like, they're already going to be viewed as an alpha male, but the problem is with this is it can also lead to very dangerous thinking, and I see this too much in women, unfortunately. Because when it comes to women and attraction, for some fucking reason, there's more bias towards a guy who is just louder. Which is just, yeah, that sucks. I do not understand that. It doesn't make any sense. But especially when you consider that there's so many dangers to that sort of thing. Like, I've seen so many people be in relationships where things are so dangerous because of the guy they're with who's being loud and obnoxious, and you know, they're complaining, oh, he's hitting me, and obviously there's a scenario that happens here commonly, and you look into the guy, and people have done this on the internet for years now, I think that's what happens. I could be mistaken actually, but when I've ever sort of looked into this sort of thing, the patterns are obvious. You ask them questions about the person, it's like, oh, well, they're nothing like me. Like, I'm quiet, for example, and I did have a bit of relationship anxiety, which just does cause issues for many relationships, and that's why I'm not in one. That's why I don't want one anymore. Sometimes these guys do have that, and that causes more issues. It causes like fear or PTSD. It causes a lot of different problems, and that's why that happens. But then you have to acknowledge that if you do sort of break up with them, it's going to cause more problems for them. So it's like, it's a really tough situation. But with the people who don't deserve it, the people who are so fucking loud and obnoxious, you just tell that they can do that. From either the beer breath or the fact that they're just loud. Like, again, M was like a prime example of this sort of person. And there's definitely an example of I almost said primate for some reason. We're not primates, aren't we? Right? Right? No. But he literally, it appears like an alpha male. And that's one of the biggest problems, because he very well could possibly not be. But he appears as one. And that's a problem in itself. And of course, when people present themselves like this, when they're making jokes, they're very talkative, very extroverted. I've already brought up about introversion and quietness being fine before. You actually end up enabling that. And my advice to women is to not go for the guy who's most attractive, but to go for third best. Because second best can have its ups, but it also have downs, and third best you're just thinking like, oh yeah, well, this person might actually be alright. And you get to know them, and especially if it's an introverted person, there's more things going on with an introverted person than there is extroverted. Just because it isn't sensory output doesn't mean there isn't anything going on, like in their heads or bodies, like you never fucking know. Some guys, literally, if they're quiet, they can have, like, I don't know, it's almost sexualising it a bit there, but literally that can't be one of the elements. The other thing is you just get to know these people more, you get to trust them. And over time, that is the reward for being patient. And that's one of the other issues here. It's when you're impatient, it's when men are impatient as well. And this doesn't help things at all, especially for women. I think one of the biggest things that men could do as well is obviously be more patient. Stop forcing yourself on women. Stop just trying to push yourself into that scenario where you can either get a hookup or a friendship or even just a relationship, like jumping into it really quickly. Start as strangers, start talking, become friends, get to know each other more personally, and eventually things come of that. But at the moment, in this current society, unfortunately, because of dating profiles and shit, people just tend to jump right into it. And so we lose all that meaning. We lose all sense of just socialisation. And even though I don't like it myself, it's still worrying that it happens. Because we are a social species at the end of the day. And one of the things that's really important with the social species isn't to do necessarily with the fact that they present themselves again appearing like alpha male. It's to do with body language as well. It's to do with opening their hearts. That's one of the big things with this that I think is important. And you have to open someone's heart to truly find out how they feel, to find if you trust them. And I don't know why people don't talk about this much when it comes to dating advice, but that's literally the key, is to finding the right person. And when you're seeing like an extroverted person, someone who's really loud, again, joking, maybe a bit like M, you need to find out what's really going on there. Like, ask people they know. Ask, like, personal questions, like what you believe on, I don't know, reform. There were some funny examples of questions to ask, but I'm not going to say that about you because they're not trigger warning-y, but they're funny. It's just something that happened in my family recently, a funny in joke. It just made some good things happening to people in my family, which is definitely nice. Yeah, I literally get to know someone first. You have to be patient rather than quick, and that's really important. Because I think a lot of the times as well, like, men can fall for this too. It's like, oh, you fall for someone based on looks. Like, bitches, bitches, what? I'm referring to the men as bitches, just to be clear. Like, fuck motherfuckers. I dated someone I found attractive when I was 12. And she turned out to be a complete cunt. And I only really got into that relationship because I liked how she looked. But she decided to be abusive after it ended, and it's like, oh, great. And I wasn't one to end it. That's the weird thing. Did everything right. Did everything according to my dad, as he taught me how to date, and it wasn't the right thing. It's like, oh, it's really just down to the person. So you need to be careful with that, literally. And because of how abusive she got, it's like physical bullying at first. It wasn't that bad. It's more like punching me in the arm and bruising me sometimes. But that was it. It's never like on the face or in the balls. So I gave my sister's friend. It kicked me in the balls a lot. I don't know fucking why, but she seemed like a cunt. And the friend, no, just kidding, not my sister. But the friend was like real dodgy. She apparently stole stuff from us when we weren't looking. And that was just frustrating. But yeah, again, it comes down to the person. It's about patience. And when you finally find out how they feel about things, when you find out you have things in common, like a good cause, like again, asking if you like or what you think about reform, asking what you think about Labour or Greens. And that can be a great conversation, but it can also be the right conversation. Like, it could be the deal breaker, literally. And that's important, because I think you can learn a lot from that. You can learn how truthful someone is, how well read up they are on something based on how they answer too. But there's a lot to figure out with that. Like, dating is nothing you can do speedily. I'll say this for someone who's been in, 1, 2, 4 relationships. Technically it's like 5 because I went out with my first ex again once in school. But I'll count 4 because I don't think that one matters really. Yeah, being patient and just being trusting of people. That's what matters. It's the same with even same-sex relationships, to be honest. It's the same thing. You can find abusive people anywhere, in any case. I remember my experience on Grindr trying to find a date, which was a mistake. And it ended up being more about exchanging dick pics. Like, great, thanks. I didn't want that, but I did want that. But I didn't want that. I wanted a fucking relationship. I wanted a conversation. And even though you can set your profile to no dick pics, people still send it anyway. It's like, oh, great, yeah. It's real shitty. So, that's the point really. You have to be patient, and when we talk about alpha males, never look at that and think, yeah, obviously they're the person. That's always the wrong way, and that enables the shit that we all detest, like domestic abuse, sexual abuse, hence AT, or I should say, weak man energy, weak male energy rather. It's extremely frustrating, and I'm glad he lost the fight as well. Well, technically, weak male energy and M both lost the fight. But yeah, absolutely have traits that I detest, and it's not really based on personal reasons, it's because of what that implies and what that does to people. Again, it deceives. When someone's joking or extroverted, it deceives people. It is so bad, and oftentimes leads to a very sad situation. Like, Jesus Christ, I remember when the emergency lights were going off in the UK, and before that even happened, it was like a test one that wasn't a real emergency alert, I should mention. But people were gonna fucking panic hearing that, like, what was just when? Russia? Who? But no, there was some TikToks, unfortunately, where domestic abuse survivors and those in that situation were recommending to turn off their secret phones. Because obviously their abusive partners were obviously tracking their real phones, and obviously they had to keep the other phone secret to avoid alerts, so it's always concerning. The fact that women are even in that situation to begin with is just extremely harrowing. Scary stuff, really. Like, nobody should be put in that situation. It's all like, it's a weird fucking thing though. Myself being a guy, I could never experience that, I don't think. Like, I know when it's too much, even if I'm the one causing the problems, and that's why my third relationship ever ended. Because I was definitely the biggest problem causer in that sense. Like, absolutely the worst one. But not many people have that trait. And I just don't understand why it's so hard for people to do. It's the other thing that gets me with this. Everyone talks about alpha males, and you got people deceiving you, not being honest about things. And then it's like, oh, this guy hit me. No. Report him to the police, and the police won't side with me. Like, why are you enabling it? Just get the fuck out of there if you can. And also keep reporting the guy, keep on it, keep getting this shit dealt with. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, and then why did you even get with this person to begin with? Because, again, looking at these first impressions, these, again, very extroverted people, much like M was, very good first impressions. Well, it wasn't for me, actually. I noticed the time they told me to just go out on marriage and had a kid. I was like, oh, you're in the wrong place. You shouldn't be here. Like, really, why the fuck are you here with special needs guys like myself? Seriously, go away. But, why do people get with them? That's what I don't get. Because it's quite obvious that there is issues, and maybe you shouldn't base it on their past, but base it based on how they behave and how they come across to you. Again, patience is key, and you can also tell that, like, giving it months at a time between interactions, like, you can literally tell that as well. Just the hypothetical I'm thinking of is when you're talking to someone that you maybe met in a bar, or maybe on dating profile. You had them, you talked to them for months, and it turns out they stopped talking to you, and you ask them why. And that means that either they're fake, or they met someone else, or maybe they do reply and they say that they actually found someone. So, oh, well, that also tells you that there's a problem with that person, possibly. Because the fact they're willing to message multiple people, even despite meeting you, for example, there is something going on there. And I will admit it's a bit dodgy, and also there's no choice in the sense of a dating profile and stuff. It's still a bit of a red flag, I'll be honest. One of the things I learned from having a dating profile was oftentimes it's all just fake. It's not worth doing dating profiles. Always go into your community. That's the better way to do it. Whether it's like meetups or just places you like to hang out. Like, that's another big thing that people do. That's what they used to do in the day, back in the day. Before I was born, when I was a sperm, and I know. I was there. I was there, man. I was there. I didn't expect this to be so entertaining, but fucking hell. Just had a really depressing few hours, and I don't know. For some reason, seeing weak male energy be dunked on was pretty funny. And that's probably lifted my spirits a bit, and also now details about the Epstein files are being unredacted, thanks to some great tech work from people. Apparently you can just copy and paste the redacted parts into Word and it just works. Yeah, so that's all I've got to say on that. Yeah, hopefully people take this advice in, and again, if I'm wrong about something, feel free to let me know. but never take alpha male energy as a sign of goodwill or caring, or kindness, or anything, because that just won't be the case a lot of the time. And again, I've seen it too many times at this point. We should be having less problems with this, but it seems people still need not a good kick up the arse, but a good coffee, I guess. Smell the coffee. Anyway, let's move on. I suppose people might be wondering what my thoughts on Final Fantasy XIV are now that I've pretty much not completed the end game, but almost completed it. I've got almost every relic weapon in Dawn Trail. If you're looking at the screen, you can see it. Just about show my thoughts, really. Yeah, I've done quite a few things in this expansion. I've only done Tsukuyomi's Pain and Unreal. I'm not going to bother with the other shit here. No fucking point. And I've done everything here. As I say, not the savages. I'm not a savage, unfortunately. Maybe one day. I've done everything here as well. But yeah, like my thoughts have changed a bit more since the when I first made a review on both Dawn Trail and the game itself, and I have to say the end game is actually decent. I do think that the weekly cap is a bit stupid still, given how weak the gear is compared to crafter gear. Given, again, that drastic difference between them. You either go over melding for more stats or normal gear. Normal gear being stuff where you don't have to fucking worry too much about it. And that's honestly better. Like, it's better to go with normal gear. I don't want to try and craft gear for that. That's stupid. But I do think it shouldn't be capped. I think it should be harder to get, but I don't think it should be capped. Like, time limited, not capped, but time limited. I think that's a real stain on the game's sort of accessibility. I think it should make it 30 mathematics and 10 mnemonics. Or like, not 5 per A rank, although they give a purpose to doing dailies, I think. I think there needs to be more generous offerings as well. Like, maybe just increase it all. Keep A ranks the same, but increase from expert level dungeons, and honestly change expert level dungeons because it's fucking stupid. Same with level cap. I think it should just be Dawn Trail roulette, and you get whatever comes up. It could be a raid, it could be a dungeon from the beginning, it could be a trial from the beginning. That would be better than this shit, where you only get a few. Like, Jesus Christ, this is bad. And admittedly you've got these things, but I haven't done much of this, and even then I've never gotten Dawn Trail. I've only got Dawn Trail once from leveling, and that was only the earliest dungeon, which is how bad the roulette is when you're leveling. That's literally testament to it, and I've almost got every character to fucking 100. That's absurd. So that needs fixing, I think. My enjoyment for the game really stems from obviously leveling characters, learning them, and playing through the story. And believe it or not, the relic weapon grinds can be pleasant when it's not a Realm Reborn. I haven't tried Eureka or Posture yet, but I will eventually. The Cork Resident is still miserable, in my opinion. I don't see any reason to go to it, so I'm glad that I don't have to do it again. Yeah, like, it's so strange. Hang on. Just go. I'm a bit confused. Yeah, wait tonight. I thought this was a high level dungeon by accident. Just wanted to complete my Wondrous Tales. I've almost got 3 lines. I also hate this system still. Just give us an option to add 2 extra tiles to fix that, please. It's fucking annoying. I'd rather grind this out than some of the Unreal, at least Reef of Snakes. Tsukuyomi's Pain is decent, I can do that, but it's a bit frustrating at times. But, good. Oh, you fucked up my rotations. What is this tank doing? Okay, sure. Yeah, way to fuck up the rotation. Yeah, mate. I'm almost dead because of you. Oh, I'm dead. What the fuck? What happened there? Okay, tanks is my bad. Sure. That was weird. Look at that. So why am I AoEing these bastards? Doesn't have any effect on them. God, I'm fucking up so much. That's also the problem with this. Sometimes it's punishing to do the rotations wrong. I noticed this with Ninja. I literally have to have my things assigned so that it can basically benefit me. Where I can just see like all the executions for the Ninja. And I have a video coming up. It's been months in the making for making that, essentially. But I'm making a tier list of my favourite leveling classes and my favourite jobs. And favourite end game jobs so far. And admittedly I've got to test them a bit better because I think I've probably made a mistake doing that. I haven't tested them properly, but we'll see. Yeah, I do think this game is in an enjoyable state for me personally, with all the quality of life that have happened, like the command panel here. It's been super useful. And it does feel like they're listening to an extent, but they still need to fix so many of the back-end issues. I was in a vehicle thing earlier in like a Stormblood dungeon, this one with the trike guy, I can't remember his name. And the biggest problem with that one is when you target an enemy, this also happens in other dungeons and content to be honest, it will essentially, just when you target someone during a vehicle thing, it will just take you out of it, which is just stupid. Like, why? Why do that? That's extremely stupid and frustrating. So I don't understand that logic, frankly. I'm British. But yeah, I've found my rhythm with this really. I'm doing crafters as well. Crafters I do like. I retract what I said before. It's the same for everyone, you just need to find the right content, and that's my biggest advice. The right content is basically the most convenient one, to be honest. And that will be like something in the form of, I guess, I'm trying to think, like other dailies or technically Foundation, but I'm a bit unsure about that at the moment. Just gonna wait until I get everyone to max, because I don't want to frustrate and burn myself out with that, and I've got other things to do. I've got to get characters up. Also, please add fucking normal raids at level 50. Jesus Christ, I want to do that roulette as soon as possible with Samurai and Pugilist, who are my next characters. And I just can't stand the fact that you have to get them up to level 60 to have any fucking benefit. That is just stupid, man. I'm gonna get Samurai to level 60, and even though there's not much XP in it, that should be increased by the way, the XP. It's a bit silly that it doesn't give you much XP. But yeah, sorry, get out of that. It's just increasing frustrations with certain things. Like that. Trying to concentrate on this boss here. It's been a while since I've done this one. Yeah, I think some class changes are a bit weird. Gunbreaker having the 2-cost cartridge ability is a bit strange to me, given that Gunbreaker isn't exactly strong. At least from what I've noticed. There are moments like that where it's just like, yeah, you've already completed this game so much that you have to balance it every fucking patch like World of Warcraft does. Like, come on. Honestly, that's stupid. Where'd that cast go off? That was weird. What am I doing? I'm fucking up every rotation on this. I've got hit twice somewhere. I'm not with it today, I don't think. And they changed what it was. Now it is weird and glitchy to me. Yeah, but Final Fantasy XIV is actually fun. I will say the FOMO elements do scare me a bit, like the way the game sort of, with like PvP mounts and other mounts that have not appeared for a while, like the Regalia Type G. I think that needs to come back in some way. Even as a store mount, I wouldn't mind. I'm not a mount collector, but I do wish that there would be some consideration with that, because I hate FOMO. I have panic disorder, I have anxiety disorder, you can't be doing this shit to me. Where'd these fucking AoEs come from? I don't know what's going on with this boss. Somehow managed 4 stacks. I don't know what the fucking read is there. Yeah, you can see. Fuck that again. There was just increasing frustration with some elements. I wasn't keen on the raids. I think M4 is actually probably the best one, weirdly enough. At least now I've got some practice with it, and M2 is okay. It's good actually, I mean. Not okay, it's just good. Yeah, but again, endgame is sort of mixed, but everything else is still decent, in my opinion. I forgot, there was another good change, wasn't there? Extract material, repair all was definitely good. Again, it's like finding your rhythm, and I know my plan. Literally relic weapons whenever I can. It's going to be quest eventually and do Hildebrand as well when I get around to it. Or Hardboard as he's called now for some reason. Sorry. Then what else is there to do after? I guess I need to spend more time with my free company and start to try and get myself out a bit more. I'm still very awkward in that sense. I'm not socially there because anxiety, autism. I just know that I struggle with it. It's just not worth like worrying myself to death with it. But I do need to sort of pay attention as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. So what else I can say, but I can safely say and happily say, with over, playtime is over 128 days in this game. I am enjoying it. It's definitely fun, and even though I get burnt out from various bullshit that it has, it's not to say I don't like it. I very much do like it. And I think that's certainly a good sign for a game, given I've never spent this long just playing a game for so many hours uninterrupted without going to a different game, without sort of quitting it. And there's one game I'm happy to sort of AFK in as well. It does have a problem with performance, I think. I've had lag during A-trains and stuff. It's really the only place that it happens, but I've also had PC performance issues. I don't look at Task Manager, but I already know that it's just burning my fucking GPU up. It is so annoying. I just wish they would optimise the game properly, because this shit needs to be fixed a bit. Because I really want to be able to play this game having AFK all the time, but it does warm up my room quite well. In fact, it serves as a space heater now, so all I have to do is run this game and I'm good. But it's annoying to have that in the summer though. It's so fucking annoying. I really don't like it. It's just, hang on, it's just like the thing in Heavensward, that unicorn boss. It's interesting. Didn't notice that. Anyway, that's probably my conclusion for this. Fun game, fun times. Look like Final Fantasy XIV. So, South Park. Season 1. Yeah, Season 2. I just like it anyway. Like, Season 1 was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot, and I think it's really interesting, given that it's just sort of aged well, given the amount of time that's passed. It came out in 1998, I think. I'm extremely surprised that it even managed to avoid a lot of controversy in that sense. Like, it's actually aged well. And the only parts I think haven't aged well are something like, I think, the R word. Let me just say it outright, retard. There's a lot of use of that. And I think there's going to be more, because I know later on there are characters introduced where that is used more. That's like the only part that hasn't aged well. As for everything else, I don't know. I think Big AR is a bit of a stereotype. I will admit I don't like the stereotype much. So I think that's not aged well. And there was something else. I can't remember. You do say fag sometimes. But I don't think that was in Season 1, I was in Season 2. Also, the problem is the version I found is like censored, but then I found out South Park has its own site and you need a VPN to access it, so it's like, oh, right, and even then it doesn't always play. Like if I go to Season 3 right now, which I need to start, let's see, click, come on, play, what's it fucking slow? This episode is currently unavailable. Due to current rights and restrictions, this video is not available at southpark.ccc.com. What the fuck are you on about? It's .co.uk. Watch all season streaming events, behind the scenes content and more on Paramount Plus. Doesn't make any sense. Well, I'm in the UK. Why do I need a subscription? Like for every fucking thing. Like piss off. Anyway. Season 1 definitely was funny though. Season 2 I didn't think was as good. I did like the whole Cartman's father reveal. That was fucking amazing. Like the gag with who is Eric Cartman's father, and then just constantly throughout the episodes like who did X, and it's listing off a bunch of characters. It's pretty damn good. And then the actual reveal for Cartman's father is funny. Like, for fuck's sake. It's just like silliness that makes South Park so special. Honestly, there's no show quite like it, but the other thing that I really like about this show that I realise in watching it is that it has such good side stories, like for characters or like side character stories, I mean. It's actually really good. You got this episode with Tweak in Season 2. It's like, I think one of the only other kids that's gotten an episode at that point. Because they've introduced a bunch of characters in these episodes, but they haven't actually formally introduced them. So I can see Butters, I can see... Is it Token? I could be misremembering his name. But you got like many other characters there too. Clyde, which you see every now and then. Did they get rid of Pip in the end? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they got rid of Pip. But Pip's still there at the moment. Yeah, it's so entertaining, and a lot of the episodes here are about the same as Season 1. I would say they're not as funny, but they're still good. I think one of my favourite episodes of, I think it's this season, is where they have the 4th of July celebration and they make a giant snake in South Park. And I won't spoil the ending, but somehow everyone ends up blackface. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah, like that may not have aged well, but come on, it is funny in context and just with everything that happens in this show. I had to laugh. And then I saw the movie, because that's like after the end of Season 2, and the movie is very good. It has musical numbers, it has an interesting story, and yeah, certainly got some unexpected moments as well. I don't really want to spoil the movie, actually. It's that good, I just don't want to spoil it. I won't say like it's my favourite movie of all time, but it is definitely a good movie. Also, it's interesting that they upgraded the animation. They started giving the children like a front-facing walk animation, which is interesting. So it's not like the old a few degrees to the left, a few degrees to the right to walk sort of thing. So yeah, I forgot I like that. I definitely think it's worth a watch if you like South Park. And yeah, even though it's old, it's actually aged incredibly well. Minus a few words, but that's to be expected at this time in this era. localised solely within this South Park. Yeah, I don't know what else to add really. That's where I'm up to with this. It's taken some time to get through it, I will say. I'm having trouble sort of finding time to watch these episodes, but I'm still quite fascinated by it. And it's still worth a watch, in my opinion. Again, South Park is a very niche thing, and it certainly works in a way that I think you'll find entertainment if you find things funny, even if they're offensive. Yeah, I don't really know what else to add. It's just good comedy. And there are some pretty clever jokes here and there, that's for sure. I do recommend it for anyone looking for something to watch, something fun. Yeah, there's something there for everyone, I think. Right, let's move on. So, I just got Rocksmith Plus re-added, re-subscribed, whatever you call it nowadays. What a fucking process that was. It's actually unbelievable how bad Ubisoft have made even just the simplest tasks, and how complicated they made it. So the first problem that I encountered before even getting to the fucking game itself is finding out how to subscribe to it. And guess what? I couldn't. I still couldn't find it. So I literally just decided to risk it to go and fucking see what happens when I go into the game. Because obviously, if it's one of those services where you have to be subscribed to play it, then yeah, it's kind of a bit weird in that sense. But if you don't, then that means you have to subscribe in-game. That's my logic. So I didn't even know what to do there. So to get the game, I decided to launch it from actually the website, because I found out they were doing a sale on subscription, which is not a good price, to be fair. That's 20% off for 3 months and 40% off for 1 year. I decided to go 3 months because fuck it. I'm not sure if I'm sticking around for it, to be fair. And I hate subscribing to it. Like, if there's a way I could get it for free, then I would. But at this point, I don't really want to. It's not really in my ballpark at the moment. It's just not worth it. Yeah, then what happens after? So it asked me to install Ubisoft Connect, which I thought I already had, but no. Because they keep asking you to install random shit you don't want on your system, which has already taken up space. I have to install it again. Great. Another fucking big L, I guess you call it. So that's not good. Then what happens? Install it. Try to log in because I forgot my login. I should get logged in. So I'm fucking tired for some reason. 5 hours sleep, nice. Yeah, so log in, try to launch it, and it doesn't launch. Like, what the fuck is going on here? It opened a brief Windows window thing, you know, the yes or no answer thing. It didn't do anything after that. It just sat there. And then eventually it launched. I was like, what? Like, this isn't even professional. How the fuck can you even call yourselves a gaming company? A game developer for that matter, when you can't even do this basic thing? When you accept a game and you say like yes to a prompt there, commonly what happens is it shows you the progress. Like back in the day when we used to put in a disk into Windows XP and install it, it would show us a fucking progress window. Why is that so hard to do? Honestly, why? It's just so fucking shameful. What is wrong with you? You have to be particularly stupid to even just avoid adding something like that. There's literally no excuse. And so because I didn't have the progress, I thought there was something wrong. I thought it just wasn't launching. So I clicked it multiple times, and eventually it did work. It did launch. That's where it actually launched. And yeah, going into it, it downloaded a bunch of shit, which is a bit weird because I thought I already installed it via Steam. Turns out I hadn't, so it installed more shit. Thanks for that. And then what happens? So I get into game, everything seems to be running fine for the most part. But then I see at the top right, premium. You should use premium, dude. Premium. And it did. Because most of the content on it is literally locked behind it. Which I suppose as a sort of monetary value is sort of necessary, but at the same time I just do miss when content was essentially handed out to you as DLC, because you can pick what you want. But then again, I also can't really complain about having such a vast library and potentially finding new music from it. It's not a bad thing in its entirety. Certainly see the benefits. In fact, I need to stop doing that. I need to start doing like sort of a 1-2 system. I'll do like music one day and TV another day for like watching and stuff. Not when I do my artwork, it's just when I'm doing other tasks. And that might be a good way to handle that, because I've been wondering what to do. And that might be the best one. Yeah, I see the premium button, I look for the premium DLC just to check, and it turns out you do actually need that. So, okay, fair enough. Go to premium, shows me the subscriptions, shows me there's a sale on, so I decide to get a subscription instead. And then it takes me to a Steam overlay. Which is just like, what? What the fuck are you doing? Why a Steam overlay? This shit is so stupid. Not to mention potentially dangerous as well. Like, if I'm not mistaken, that Steam overlay pretty much connects you to Steam, and that in itself is like a security risk. So why are you asking people to pay through that? That makes no sense. And as if that wasn't bad enough, when I did the payment process, it took me to a screen to update my billing information, even though I was paying with something else. I wasn't paying with a card. So it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you making this shit so complicated? It's so fucking unnecessary. Again, it takes special amounts of stupid to fucking cause something like this. So basically I'm confused. I exit out because I think it said it sent a confirmation I've added funds to my Steam wallet, which for some reason it goes there instead of the subscription. Like, great. Third party, that's fucking great. So I was confused, I exited out the overlay, got into game and it said retry. It said the subscription didn't go through and suddenly it's a retry. And then it says it can't connect to the Ubisoft servers, so I have to retry that. And it doesn't work. Seriously, like, what the fuck is going on? How are you so incompetent at this? When the game will simply just fucking launch it, go through a stupid login and start thing, and then you're in. You don't need to worry about anything else. And now that it's subscription based and online all the time, you don't have that fucking luxury. It's gone. I honestly cannot comprehend the reasoning behind it. It just makes no fucking sense at all. Jesus Christ. Again, it takes special kinds of stupid to fuck this up. Literally. I do not get it. It just does not make any sense to me. And again, how fucking shameful was that? It is atrocious. It's the other thing. It's just a big struggle getting through this. So with the subscription not working, I was thinking like, oh, something's not right there. Like it must have been bogged out or something. and I couldn't figure it out really. It turns out the subscription didn't actually go through, so when it's asking me to update my billing information, that was an unnecessary step. It's likely because I haven't bought anything on Steam in a while. But even then, it's just like, what the fuck? Why? It just doesn't make any sense. So I go back into the subscription thing, try to find out how to do it, and then it disconnects me from the server. Like, what the fuck is this? I'm paying for this, you idiots. Why are you disconnecting me? But anyway, I go back to this payment, and it turns out it didn't actually pay for it. And when it's asking me to update my billing information, there's a small button to the side to pay underneath it, actually, not to the side in Steam's case, but underneath it, and it says pay with a different method. And then it gives me the option for Steam Wallet. Like, what the fuck is this multi-step garbage? Like, you remember when subscriptions were just, you pay directly to the company that's providing it? You remember that? Those days? Ubisoft certainly doesn't. They don't even know what it fucking is. That's how bad this is. Jesus Christ. I do not understand how you fuck that up. So anyway, it goes through, and it seems fine. I can see the access the tracks, and I go through it and look around some of the things, and I'll change some PC settings and try to get to my liking. It turns out there's a classic mode for the settings in the note highway, which I like, and I found out there's tones as well. Midway through the settings, you have been disconnected from the Ubisoft servers. Like, fuck me, like, is this Black Mirror? If so, it's absolute cinema, but what the fuck? How? Why? Why the fuck are you disconnecting me on a menu? On settings? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, there's an urge to say, to put a bullet somewhere, but I can't fucking say it. Jesus fucking Christ. The amount of hatred I have for the person who designed this is just unbelievably high. It's probably up there with some of the worst people on the planet. Epstein, Trump, Putin, Netanyahu. I know that many other fucking douchebags. Like, literally. It's like fascism, but in gaming form. It's so fucking bad. After that, I was like, okay, I've explored the menu, I'm just gonna wait. And you know, if I get disconnected via a playthrough of a song tomorrow when I eventually pick it up again, assuming I'm awake, then I'm gonna force a refund and go to legal action, because I'm not tolerating this. I'm paying for a product. You are obligated to give me the product. It's just absolutely fucking stupid. And I shouldn't even be disconnected from it. I do not understand why that's even happening. There is no reason for it. Just unbelievable amounts of pissed off, and this is why Ubisoft is essentially a laughing stock. As I said, if there was a free method, I'd take it any day. But as it currently stands, I do not know of any. And I do not fucking care at this point. I just need to expose how bad this is and the experiences I get to show people that this product is not complete. I was looking forward to learning piano, but at this point it's going to look like I'm not learning it because of all the issues that the game has. Jesus, and also who's to say that this won't be the next live service to disappear? So there's probably not even that much time on it left. It's just so fucking bad. And a lot of my feedback has been ignored. I've posted feedback. I said, like, where's your mastery tracker? Where's the classic note highway just functions? Because believe it or not, the classic note highway had a better function than the Rocksmith Plus one. And I'm talking not just appearance, but the way the notes would click and show you that they're done, and even the chords. I like being able to see chords when they're Like, if they're spammy, not complicated, then they're fine. But if they are complicated, then it's like, I want to see that. And Rocksmith 2014, to my knowledge, did it good, if I'm not mistaken. But there are other things. It's hard to see bends in Rocksmith Plus. It's hard to see some techniques. There's so many issues that no doubt haven't been accounted for and just been ignored. I don't even know if there's like a tone changer thing, which would be fucking awful if it wasn't, because given that this is user created content as well, I'd be surprised if there isn't one. Because sometimes user created content can just be a mixed bag. So that's my Rocksmith Plus just launching it in a menu experience. Like, what the fuck is this? It's unbelievable. I've never known anything like this in my 20 plus years of gaming, let alone live services that I've used. I've never known anything like this. It's just absolutely fucking atrocious. It is so bad. So, I guess I need to reiterate this point, but I think people might be confused listening to things of 2025 and hearing that I have to breathe between every sentence, pretty much. And the reason for that is quite simple, really. It's been there since childhood. I've always had this problem. And I think it's to do with asthma, but also just the fact that I'm overweight and probably have blocked arteries as well, let's be honest. At this point, it won't surprise me. I'm finding it many different ways to try and cope with existence. And it happens to be food that I sort of rely on to get over that to an extent. But the problem is sometimes I overeat to a point where I get issues. And I think I figured out the issue with this alone. Because when I seem to overeat or just eat a lot of unhealthy food, at night I start to really suffer with breathing problems when I lay down. And to me this indicates that maybe there's something to do with my stomach being quite expanded that is pushing on my lungs and stuff, and that is just fucking me up, making me almost unable to breathe. And it's not anything to do with what the doctors said or thought it was, because to be honest, the doctors don't know shit. It's like the big problem here. It seems to have been a consistent thing throughout the years as well. My breathing just seems to be a big problem. And even now, I sort of struggle a bit. And I don't really know how to address it, to be honest. Because I've done a lot of exercise in the past year, and no weight has been lost, nothing has changed about my breathing. In fact, I get breathing problems when I exercise, so there's a bigger problem here than just eating too much. It's exercising too much as well. And whilst I have tried to strike a balance in that, nothing has worked. I've tried limiting the amount I eat during the day, and that's done nothing. It's not really about weight, it's just about breathing at this point, and like weight is fucking irrelevant. And somehow managed to break my radiator leaning on it, so I don't know what that's about. It's like an electric radiator. It's just shit quality, I guess. So I've got a replacement coming today actually. But yeah, it's like I was leaning on it because I was about to fucking leave the bathroom. It's like, oh yeah, the door's here and the radiator's right next to it for some stupid reason. Now I lean on it and it just breaks. Great, thanks. That's great quality stuff as usual in this house. I'm saying being sarcastic. Nothing here is really good quality. It's so shit. Kill me. I think I don't really have any way of addressing this problem. The way I speak, the way I breathe is pretty much ingrained in me. I don't know what can fix that. Even talking itself can be painful. Can be a struggle. Because there's no fixing that, I don't really have any way to properly address this. So I'm a bit stuck there. I don't really know what to do. I'm not really, I don't really have many options, and that's a problem. And I wish there was another way, but you know, that's not really easy to do. Yeah, so exercise is going to be a tough one to do, because I mainly need to just burn calories and be able to sleep. That's all I want with exercise. And I don't really want to do exercise for any mental benefit, because I don't really notice it that much. When I have exercised, yeah, I come out of it okay, but the problem is I don't feel the long-term effects from it. So it's almost like it's utterly pointless, and even then, I could get burnt out from doing exercise. I discovered this a few months ago. Like walking down the road that I live in, and some fucking moron was using this like really loud fucking device. It was like, I don't know what it was. It was like it might have been an old-fashioned lawnmower. One of those that you just hold the thingy with. They just push it along, and it sort of grinds up the grass. Jesus Christ, though. Just, it's such a clusterfuck to even just be out in the open. And I've even tried things like loop earplugs, which, by the way, are awful. They do not work and they do not help, because they've got one fundamental issue. I've already talked about this here, I think. But to reiterate, the problem with loop earplugs is it will amplify your own voice and your own movements and sounds, rather than blocking out every other fucking thing. So it doesn't really help. That's why it's so pointless. So yeah, that's it's certainly this whole thing, because I don't know how to address that. And you could say I could get some headphones to wear, but what? Like, I get so fucking warm outside that if that thing shorts, it's probably going to kill me. Like, I start sweating even just like 3 minutes into the walk. And this is having done many like points of walking throughout the year. In fact, the most steps I ever did was, I think that's 700 or no, not 700, 8,000 in a day, according to my watch, which isn't very accurate all the time. And that in itself, I think, demonstrates an issue. Like, seriously, why? And I don't really feel any healthy from that. And my feet were almost killing me in that state. Certainly have the stamina and energy to sort of keep that going, but at this point I only get about 3,000, 4,000 steps per day, and it does help me get to sleep, but I will say I wish I was able to do more in some way. And I thought about getting an exercise bike. I have a treadmill, but the problem with a treadmill is I'm not on my computer, and I don't really have any way to cope with being on a treadmill, because one, it hurts to fucking use because of the stupid incline, and I can't even raise it because it's potentially dangerous. I'll potentially just fall through it, so I can't even do that. It's not a safe thing to use. And I will try a sort of desk cycle thing eventually when I get the money. Again, money seems to be the problem as well with caring about your fucking health. It should just be provided by the NHS, to be honest, to lose weight and stuff. Because that really is like a basic right, I think, for people who've already spent shit on the money, probably fucking fattening themselves up. Like I'm not, but others are, and in my case, I eat a very limited amount of food anyway, so I shouldn't even be putting on weight, and yet I still put on weight, even with a limited amount of food. So why the fuck am I being asked to pay for exercise? I do not understand that. And with anxiety and possibly agoraphobia as well, which is caused by burnout, if anyone unaware, I just don't have any many options. It's fucking annoying. And I think one of the worst things about my situation currently, other than just the fact that everything burns me out, all the fucking noise, And the fact I can have noise cancelling on and still hear a car engine outside my fucking window is probably my voice is enough. I've never been comfortable with it. I hate fucking talking, and I don't like the fact that I just don't sound normal. I just sound so fucked up whenever I listen back to myself. Like, it does literally sound like I have a cock in my mouth. It's not, I don't mind that, but fucking hell. I just want to take it out. I just don't want to sound like this. And it's probably even worse given the fact that it probably hinders my ability to sort of, to sing. Like, this is another big thing, because I only realised this recently. I'm just sick and tired of the fact that I just can't sing for myself. I can't find a defining voice or anything. And I've tried. I've done it on and off for the past few months, and nothing really works. The most I ever got was like straining my throat to make a noise. And it doesn't really do much, to be honest. It's just, it frustrates me so fucking much. It would have saved me a lot of money because of things like Synthesizer V if I could just be able to fucking sing. I do not have that fucking voice. It's just not possible. I've tried mimicking many others to see if I can find one, and it just doesn't exist. It's extremely frustrating to me. Again, I just want normal fucking voice. Yeah, I don't really know what to add here, really. That's the situation. So yeah, I'm not sure what to call this exactly. It's just voice issues or something. Self-conscious, I don't even know at this point. And to be honest, I don't really care. I feel like I needed to address the issue here. So yeah. I'm going to do an outro because I didn't realise this was going on for that long. So, yeah, thanks for listening for whatever reason. Not sure why you would. Let's see everyone another time, I suppose.